Welcome to this Amazon Web Services course. I hope you're as excited as I am when it comes to working with AWS, since it is a fantastic skill to be able to develop, launch, and run applications without worrying about servers and hard disks and networks and so on. Once you have mastered this skill using this course, you can choose to use it for your own business or you can use it to land a high paying job in a firm that is already trying to implement AWS. So let's take a look at what is AWS and why might we want to use it. AWS refers to a suite of cloud computing services that allow us to export all the physical hardware requirements of our company to Amazon, leaving us the time to work on designing the software for our applications. The way this works is Amazon has data centers spread throughout the world, and these data centers house racks of databases, storage devices, routers, and servers all booted up and ready to go. When you request access for one of these machines through the AWS Management Console, it becomes available to us immediately and you can operate it from anywhere in the world using the internet. If you take a look at this graphic over here, I have listed out the three major products offered by Amazon. We have the server, we have the storage, and we have the database. Once we have combined the right quantity of these products, we can package them under our company name and use the internet to provide remote access for them to our team members who may be located thousands of miles away from this specific Amazon data center. Now that we understand how this works, let's take a look at this from a business standpoint. What this means for us is we have basically no upfront costs for hardware and we're saved from the hassle of maintaining our own data centers. If you look at this arrangement closely, we don't have to do any of the servicing, maintenance, or upgrades personally. And all we have to do is we just pay a rental fee to Amazon and it takes care of all of these things itself. Not only this, we also benefit from the scale at which Amazon is operating since it's going to be having mega large data centers compared to the small facilities that we may have. Therefore, they're going to be a lot more efficient and they're going to be experiencing the economies at scale factor, which allows them to drive the cost down of working with the same number of servers that we might be using in our smaller facility. Now, this is not the only benefit that we get when we work with AWS. If we want to expand our company's IT infrastructure on a small notice of time, all we have to do is specify the resources we want and send in the order to AWS. Within hours, we can double the size of our operation without having to build new data centers or even having to wait for the delivery of new servers. As you can tell, this feature is especially important for startups that require agile scalability to match increasing use by customers. Now, the key feature is actually neither of these. The key feature is that AWS allows us to pay for exactly the amount of resources that we use. This occurs because of two reasons. Firstly, Amazon turns hardware into a variable cost by defining price rates as ratios where you're charged, say, 0.004 cents for using 1 GB of storage for 1 hour. If you store, say, 200 GB using this pricing model for 1 month, you're going to be charged about $6. However, when you go to buy a hard drive, the nearest storage available is going to be 256 GB, and this is going to be a fixed cost to you, causing you to pay up an extra 56 GB that you do not require. This is going to be true when you're going to be renting something like storage space or database space. Now, when you're working with servers, it is going to be a different deal. And this is where the second reason comes in. The second reason is something we have actually mentioned before, and it is the agility with which we can resize our deployments. If you have estimated your workload to be, say, 10,000 computations on your server per hour, but the actual usage is only about 2,000, you can quickly scale down by terminating the extra servers. If you know that during the 9 to 5 hours, you're going to be experiencing lots of traffic on your website, you can schedule that time period to have more servers to support the load and then decrease that number when the load comes down. AWS actually has an ingenious service called an auto-scaling group which does this for us automatically, and all we have to do is specify some numbers like the maximum percentage usage of CPU and the maximum percentage of RAM usage, and AWS will make sure that the usage stays below that limit. The auto-scaling group also works in the opposite direction, where we can add more servers automatically as the demand rises. So if you're looking at this graphic, in the first example, we have four servers that are running at 90%. What we can do there is we can add another server, and all of them will now be running at 75%. In the bottom example, we have six servers, which is way too many. And in that case, they're running at about 50%, which is the lower limit that we have set. And the moment we remove three of them, we can now boost that up to about 67%, which is a healthy range and is below our 90% range, which was our maximum. So we want to stay somewhere between 90% and 50%. And we can specify the auto scaling group, which will do this for us without requiring our input. Now, doing something like this with physical hardware is next to impossible. If you're going to be purchasing a server and then not using that server, it is going to be sitting in a corner acting as sunk cost, and you're only going to be able to sell it off at a loss. It is also going to be a problem on the other hand where you require more servers and you estimated that you need something like 40 and you're now going to be using 50. In that case, you have to order new servers and wait for them for weeks till they arrive, and then you can do the setup and booting and then attach them to your application. However, the on demand nature of AWS combined with the ratio based charges allows us to boot up new servers, install the required software, and attach them to the running application within a fraction of all of that time. With this, let's conclude this lecture on the basics of AWS, and let's move along to the next lecture where I'll be showing you the major components of AWS and how we plan to cover them in this course. Thank you for joining me here, and let's move along.